Alright then, last week's episode of the old Grid Autosport was a little bit angry, I'm going to be honest. By a little bit angry, I mean very angry. It got to a point where I was pretty livid with the game, not going to lie. But it's fine, it's all good, fine now, I've calmed down, I've relaxed. I've also realised that last week was a little bit quiet. I managed to somehow turn the volume down even further than I normally manage to, so I'm going to try to avoid doing that again this week. We're finally on to touring cars though, so it should be good. Trying to figure out if I'd rather drive a Ford Focus or a Ted Cruz. I'm going to go for a Focus, because I'm the Ford man. I think I've talked about this before, but I am the man with the Fords, you know? The Dead Kennedys did a song about the man with the dogs. Should have done a song about me, because I am the man with the cars. And I've also, very important thing to note, that I did some learning about this game last week, while I was getting fairly livid, and I learned through experience that you do want to be qualifying, definitely, because if you don't qualify, then you start at the back, and if you start at the back, you ain't never gonna win. So I'm kind of glad I didn't pick the Chevy. The Chevy in the first grid was good. It was a nice car. You know, there was a BMW there as well that was maybe a little bit better, but I kind of liked the Chevy the whole time. But I played the original, the first grid. Obviously, it wasn't the original per se. That would have been Toka touring cars for like, not even the PS1 probably, before that. But I've never played Toka touring cars. The oldest Codemasters game I played, I think, is Colin McRae Rally 3. I don't know if Touring Car Toka Race Driver 2 came out before or after that, so I'm going to go ahead and say that Colin McRae Rally 3 is the oldest Codemasters game I've ever played. Obviously, I've played older games than that. I want to say the oldest, like, because obviously playing like Outrun and stuff on some Flash game website doesn't count. So the oldest game I've actually properly played is Formula 1. It doesn't have a year on it, but like the year in the game is the 1995 season, so I'm going to call it F1 1995 for convenience. Yeah, I reckon that F1 95 is probably the oldest game I've ever played. That game's for the PS1, so I guess Toka Touring Cars might also be for the PS1. I'm pretty sure the fat old PS3 that I'm planning on getting, I might already have ordered one, because last week's episode is a weekend where I'm planning to order some kind of original run PS3, so I can actually play my PS2 games properly. Don't know if I'm gonna do that. I don't know if I actually did do that, or if I didn't. I don't know yet, because I haven't done it yet. It's not the weekend yet. You know, last week's episode I recorded yesterday. This week's episode I'm recording today, because I have time. There's no real reason. And I have time because I've been let out of school early, because the term's pretty much finished. And that was the final term ever. Well, not ever, because I'm hopefully going back for sixth form later on in the year. I think I've got a blocked nose as well. Like, I'm pretty sure I figured out I did in during the maths exam. I was sat there and I thought, I've got a blocked nose, because I had a blocked nose. But that's only really relevant if you're listening, and I don't. I'm not listening to me, so I don't know if you are. Anyway, qualifying. It looks like it looks like I've more than got the pace. Easily taking first. I won't do the last lap of qualifying. I'll just finish it here. Yep, pole position. And like I said, pole position really important in this game, because you don't get put on the grid randomly like what you used to did in the first grid. So yeah, there's a BMW from grid 1, or probably an updated version, but it's a similar car. Either way, it's becoming fairly clear to me that Raven West drive the best cars in every series, every championship. You go into a championship and Raven West will have a better car than everyone else on the grid. You know, we found that out last week as well, mostly, but like, I had an inkling beforehand that Raven West might be slight car babbies, as they say, because I had a Honda S2000 and everyone else had either an S2000 or a Nissan Silvia, and Raven West were driving FDRX7s. So I'm not sure who okayed that in the rules. The whole allowing a car in to the championship in the specifications or anything of that kind. It's kind of like allowing a nitrous-powered snail into the Indy 500. And I've got a huge problem with that movie. I know it's probably not supposed to be taken seriously, but like, they argue that the snail should be allowed into the Indy 500 because there's nowhere in the rulebook that says a snail should not be allowed to race in the Indy 500. But, and I figured this out when the movie came out. I can't remember when it came out, but I was a little bit younger than I am now. And even then, I understood how build specifications work, especially for when the car is custom built, like for the Indy 500 / IndyCar in general, I guess. But when the car has to be built to a formula, and a snail is none of the formula. You know, there's like formulas specifying how big the car can be and how much it weighs and this and that and how much power it produces. And let me tell you about snails, alright? Snails are a lot smaller than Indy cars. Snails are a lot lighter than Indy cars. The snail, you know, you can't really calculate how much power the snail was making. You can't really put it on a dyno. I mean, I guess, like, you could. I mean, you see what I mean, you know? It's not fair, is basically what I'm trying to say. The snail should not have been allowed into the Indy 500, and his win was not legitimate. You know, as much of an asshole as that movie tried to make that French driver seem, you know, he still deserved the win more than the snail did, because he, like, was actually driving a proper car, and, you know, was actually legible to race, you know? That probably sounded a little bit autistic, you know, trying to explain why the movie Turbo doesn't make sense. I mean, we already knew that the movie Turbo didn't make sense. It didn't need explaining. It didn't need explaining. So I managed to give myself a... I'm dehydrated. I've got a slight headache, as it were, if you see what I mean. I'm not. That's not an innuendo. I've got an actual headache. I don't know why I said if you see what I mean. But man, oh man, is this episode a lot calmer than the last one, eh? Am I right? I'm not trying to kill someone this week. Although I do have to do 2 races at the same track, which I don't understand, because it's not really that interesting, is it? You know, in the BTCC they do 3 races at the same track, and it's like, just stop, just What? Why? I mean, I get it. So they can all be like really short sprint races. And it makes everyone like bump into each other all the time, so they go faster because they're more angry because they need to go fast. Gonna pull out a little bit to try and block him and take the win. Easy peasy. Make sure the tablet stays on. That's what that. Like sometimes there's a really loud tapping sound. Oh, Aaron Wesley. Was he the guy from the first? Yeah, he was the guy from the first grid. I thought he was Scottish. I don't know. I can't remember. Aaron Wesley though, he seems familiar. I remember him. Right, race 2. Pretty sure I'm going to be starting from the back. Yeah. So are the Raven West cars though. That's fine. I can deal with that. Just need to keep pace with them, move up the pack when they move up the pack, and then take the win at the end of the race. Try not to get destroyed at the back here. I'm going to put my teammate on hold, make him try and hold his position at the front. That's really what you want to be doing when you're in the lead. Alright. Shit. I've been punted off the track. Mostly by the kicker car, but I think that Raven West guy helped out. I'm not looking at the standings. I'm too focused on carving my way through the pack. Up the inside of everyone? No. Up the inside of one, though. That's more than none. That's another position for me. There's a 3-wide drag race down the back straight. And that's not going to work out until this next corner. And I'm the big loser. Now I'm the big winner. Oh, no. Okay, I was wrong. And I jumped to conclusions. And I didn't do my research. There are other BMWs here, not just Raven West. And maybe there's another team that runs an FD in the Tuner series then. I kind of don't want to go back to find out after last week. I said I wasn't going back. I'm going to do my best not to go back. Are Monster Energy running really old cars again? Or is that just what their livery, or does their livery just make cars look old for some reason? I feel like that's what's going on. Teammate still in the lead, but because of the reverse grid situation, all the shitters are at the front. So, yeah, look, I get that it's touring car racing, but you could at least give me somewhere to go. Please? I like rallycross, don't get me wrong, but we're not playing dirt, we're playing grid. There we go. Round the outside. Lovely jubbly. Raven West are absolutely nowhere in this race. I've completely left him behind. The guy in the Monster Energy car is slowed up quite a lot for this section. I'm going to go past like that. Try and catch up with the top 3 over here. This race is going well. Going to take a really good points haul for Razor Motorsport from this weekend if me and my teammate can get a 1-2. I'd rather be in front of my teammate for the whole 1-2 situation. So that's what I'm going to have a go at doing. Touring car racing, so I'm going to barge my way through. A little bit of contact with the Oakley car. And now my teammate's been put down in 3rd. I'm going to put him back onto balanced, just to make sure he keeps pace and doesn't fall back too much. Go around the outside of the Chevy like that. My teammate is dropping down the order. No, he's not. He's fighting for 3rd. He's not been given 3rd. He's in 4th now. But the point is, he's still up here at the front with me. Oh, shit. Totally missed that corner. Should have been paying attention, to be honest. if I remember to. Well, no, I'm not gonna start doing it now because I'm still using Windows Movie Maker to edit, and I think we all know how easily things can get corrupted by Windows Movie Maker. Not in like a weird, they got, in an actual, the file gets corrupted and becomes unusable kind of way. Movie Maker likes to corrupt files a lot, so I'm not going to do too much editing in the old Movie Makers, but in future, because it feels like this series might last a little while. If I do end up improving my whole recording and editing situation from how it is now, and I mean, it really couldn't get much worse on how it is now. So, there's no way it could get worse, is what I'm saying. So in the future, I'm gonna do more editing, make the videos shorter probably, and that should make them a little bit better. But obviously, as it is now, I can't really be doing that too much. Did a little bit of editing last week. That's because I had to skip out like an extra half hour of content because I did it again because I managed to fuck up pretty bad. And making mistakes is fine. To err is human, as was said in the Road to El Dorado. So I didn't entirely get what like the chief meant by that, because like could totally have just killed the guy, because he wasn't actually a god. He was just pretending. But the chief was a nice guy. The chief was a cool kid. He was nice. So I guess that's why, like, he was like, the implication was that he knew that the guy was human. He figured it out. But like, yeah, Road to El Dorado was a good film. What can I say? This is a layout of Sepang I've never been to before. Although, to be honest, before this game, I'd only ever driven the actual Grand Prix layout, and now I've driven the whole thing everywhere, so, I'm not sure how I feel about alternate layouts of tracks, because obviously you don't want to go to the Grand Prix layout every time, because that'll take forever, and you'll just be driving for years. If you took, like, as we're driving now, if you took Category C touring cars to the full Grand Prix layout of Sepang, then, you'd be racing for hours. And it wouldn't be fun, because the cars don't fit the track. But at the same time, a lot of alternate layout tracks and, like, short circuits and whatever, it's a bit gimmicky, isn't it, really? But they're better than they're bad. There's more good than bad to the whole sort of racetrack alternate layout sort of situation. This lap was a lot slower than the last lap, and I managed to get exactly the same time as Nathan McCain, apparently. I don't know why I said the first time. But yeah, that second lap was a lot worse, so we're going to pretend it. And AI, obviously, improved their times as the qualifying session went on. Well, by the AI improved, I mean the Raven West cars improved. Everyone else sort of stayed the same. And by stayed the same, I mean were pretty bad. Everyone except Raven West pretty much sucks, except me. Also, I've just noticed what my car says in it, and who the sponsor is. and pretty cringe. Pretty cringe if I do say so myself. I'm not... Razer makes stuff for computers though, so I've never really experienced the whole Razer situation. I'm driving cars that advertise products I don't even use, but that's pretty much every racing game that has sponsors in it. These sponsors aren't even giving me money. They were in the first grid. First grid game, I could slap a few sponsors on my car, and it didn't matter that the sponsors didn't actually mean anything to me because they were paying me to have their logo on the side of my Drivers' Championship winning race car every week, every weekend, all over the globe. That's not really happening anymore. Now the money's going to the team, and I just have to drive for different teams until I become the best race car driver, the best Toka race driver, if it were as they say. I don't get how they managed to shatter the foam braking boards without like knocking them over. Like, surely if you clipped one, it'd go flying and not just like sit there like a pile of building blocks or whatever. Ugh. Mason McCain getting a bit of a slide on there. I had to dodge him, and that lost me the drag race up the road. Not to mention that the Ford, chances are, doesn't have as much power as a BMW in a straight line. So that's probably also why I lost the drag race down the straight there. Got another straight, and I'm dipping it on the grass, and it's not really a good display of driving here, but I've tried to go around the outside, and he's totally blocked me there. So I'm running out, kind of, oh, shit, on the grass again. Fuck off. Alright, this isn't your race, and we both know it's not your race. Get out of it. Fucking kicker, more like shitter. I don't know where I was going with that. Well, starting to look a little bit like race 1 is not going to be a victory. I've gone from challenging for second to defending for third. Unless I can really pull this last lap out the bag. I doubt it. I don't think I can. Those BMWs just have the power advantage, and this track is predominantly straight. It's like the Ducatis at Mugello. And even then, Jorge Lorenzo managed to lose like a complete loser, because he is. And it was just embarrassing to like be experiencing Lorenzo fans in the thread at Mugello. That was just... It was funny, but also like embarrassing, because like this season really is in MotoGP. This season really is the season of Lorenzo exposure. Alright, bumped him that time. I'm getting this second place. Watch me dive it up the inside in the hairpin. He fucked up that last hairpin we did every time, and I didn't take advantage of him for it. And I braked a little bit too late. So third place for race 1. So that's fine, because, you know, I'm the real winner here, basically. The Raven West guys don't deserve the win, because their car is better than anyone else's. So it doesn't really count. Anyway, I'm going to win race 2. Because even though they've got a better car than everyone else, somehow I'm the only driver that's actually able to get from the back of the grid to the front. And I will demonstrate this now. I'm not actually at the back, I'm in front of the Raven West guys. Right, hold second position, Mr. Teammate. And I will try not to get taken out by a kicker car again. A little bit of bumping. His car is fairly solid compared to mine. I don't know what's going on with that. I've carried way more speed through that kink, so I'm going to make up a ton of positions through here. Not a lot of commentary for me today. I'm just basically just telling you what's going on screen. That was that Honda Civic really provided a good roadblock for everyone, which let me get past. Now I've got to get past all the shit cunts, put my teammate back on balance, see if I can keep him up at the front like last time. There's potential for Razor Motorsport to take the Teams Championship this season, based on how bad Raven West are at the reverse grid races. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to, but we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to start fighting with the Oakley car and get through. One more to go. I'm already in a higher position than I was in race 1 at any point. I mean, I know I dipped into second a couple of times when I dive bombed Nathan McCain into the final corner a couple of times. That doesn't really count because I never held the position. But now I'm in the lead. Half the race to go. Gonna make my teammate a little bit more aggressive. See if I can get him to move up a little bit from 5th. See if we can try and take the Teams Championship. Like I said, near the beginning of the series, I want to use my teammate as a gimmick to keep me entertained when I'm leading the race, as I am now. Doesn't really look like it's doing anything. He's stuck in 5th now. No, down to 6th. Nope. He's definitely lost a position there. I told him to try harder, and he did whatever the opposite of trying harder is. So, I mean, good job. Well done. Fucking idiot. When do I get a good teammate? You know, how much of this game do I have to play before I get a teammate that's worth having? Does anyone know? I'm having to breathe through my mouth because I've got a blocked nose, like I said. I don't know how I got a blocked nose, to be honest. It's like summer. And I mean, sure, it's been a bit windy and it's not necessarily been warm, and my room's been freezing. I don't know what the problem is in my room, because it feels like I've always got the window open, even though I've got the exact opposite of that. I've always got the window shut. So I don't know how I managed to get myself a blocked nose, but I did. Nope, he's gone down to 7th. Alright, let's put him back on balance, because he's just embarrassing himself. Yeah, I'm much happier. I'm much happier with how this season has gone, compared to the last one. Jesus. And it's not just because I won easily, alright? Because I've finished 3rd in one of these races and still been happy about it, alright? It's because nothing I'm doing is fucking bullshit. And that's more fun. It's not fun to get Jude out of a race. Nathan McCain's made it up to 4th, and my teammate's down in 8th. Doesn't look like we're going for the Teams Championship this season, but I have gone ahead and won the race. Which means I went 3 for 4. It should put me on top on the driver standings. Yes, it does. Yeah. 2nd in the team standings to Razor, but what can you do? Didn't quite drive far enough. Didn't quite set a fastest lap. But it was a good season. Definitely a good season. I've leveled up my touring car level to level 2. Came 1st. What does that mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes until we get to the grid. Grand Slam at level 3. Next week, doing some more touring car racing. The Eibach. Is it Eibach or Eibach? Is it German? We're back. We're either still gonna stick with Razor, which I'm probably not, or we might finally drive the Ted Cruz. Not really sure about that one. Have I unlocked any new teams? No. Well, we're only with Category C touring cars until a little while from now. Looks like those are Super Utes. That's gonna be pretty fun. That was the end of this episode. Next episode, another episode of touring cars. Yeah, good. I still don't know why I add so much on the end here. I've got nothing to say.